I wanted to make a screen recorded video with a Viper movement that I really like it's a rotary movement, and I do a huge amount of work with lacrosse players, and it's a huge problem I'm seeing with ACLs, hamstring pulls, groin pulls, and people don't see the spiraling effect from the ground up. And when you drive the hands, watch what happens to the pelvis, the knee, and the foot. And when you have a cleat on your foot, it really changes the dynamics through the entire body. So what we're going to use with our friends from Faster, this is some footage of a Viper movement. And watch this rotary movement. And what I'm kind of looking at is, I'm looking at as he drives his hands up and away from his body. In lacrosse, we're actually doing that and our eyes are staying fixed on the goal. You watch his eyes travel along. I'm willing to bet because he has to. But what I'm looking at, look at what happens in his knee. Okay? Imagine he has a foot pinned to the ground with a cleat. And you see how that knee is starting to follow along for the ride. You're actually seeing the outside edge of that foot on the ground and the inside edge is being peeled away. There's a restriction in that lateral line there on that left side as that hand is driven up and away from his body. In lacrosse, what he has to do is actually do that movement, but what he's actually doing is keeping his eyes fixed on the goal, and then he's actually going to initiate the pelvis. The pelvis is actually going to fire towards the target, and it creates a lag in the abdominal wall, and then the hands follow and the wrists follow all the way through, sort of a whipping effect. And what I would look at is just sort of the difference between the two sides of the body. So let's see what happens on this side of his body. And I'm seeing a little bit more restriction in that abdominal wall. It seems like his body wants to fly along for the ride a little bit more on this side. See how that basically his hands, his pelvis, his shoulders, his head, everything is kind of following along for the ride there. And look at that knee. I'm seeing a huge amount of restriction right there. You see that knee want to fly out. You'll see that effect. It actually creates a bow in that leg. And if we look down at his foot, that foot is peeling off the ground. We'll see that foot peel off the ground as he brings it back. See that? And that sliding effect of the body. Alright, that would affect the golf game as well, but I'm kind of looking at lacrosse. It's lacrosse season, so that's what I'm taking a look at. So what I would actually go after is I would do a huge amount of, obviously, thoracic spine mobilizations, eccentric loading of the thoracic spine, getting the abdominals more elastic and pliable, adding probably a cervical driver in there as well, changing the head position. Right now, let the head follow along for the ride, but then what I might do is tweak the position a little bit, and then you could actually try some different lunge matrices, maybe with a small stride, and then increase the stride length as needed, depending on what the task is for the athlete. But that's just some quick thoughts. I would love to get your thoughts out there too on the same footage.